Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Friday's cybersecurity webinar hosted by Exclusive Networks. Exclusive Network is a global distributor for cyber and cloud security. We have about 50, 60 offices around the world, and we focus ourselves only in cyber and cloud security. Today's topic is about Vade Secure, and they are the #1 phishing email and security for Office 365. And today's presenter is Mark McHugh, and he is one of the sales manager for Vade Secure. So let's welcome Mark.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, depending on where you're logging in from. As David mentioned, I am a regional manager with Vade Secure. Today, I want to talk to you about high margin, low maintenance reselling of the Office 365 platform. So who are we, Vade Secure? We're a company that's been around for about 16 years, and we protect over 600 million mailboxes worldwide. A lot of times I say that to people and they take a step back and they say, well, I've never really even heard of you. And that's the reason that is because the way we grew. So we originally were founded in France, over in Europe. We grew our business through ISPs. So if you use a Comcast.net email, if you use Orange Telecom, British Telecom, those email boxes are supported by us or protected by us. We also grew through OEM. So you can see some of our competitors, Mimecast, Cisco, SonicWall, host of others. They use components of our Logics, but nobody has it all. And then, of course, we deal with the commercial market. And the way we deal with the commercial market is only through MSPs. So, you know, so we're distributor like Exclusive. We want to touch those MSPs and we want to push it out. So a couple little bits of data, Forest Research here. They mentioned the average MSP margin is 17%. What we like to do is we like to help you increase that margin. And we're going to see that we have a very low maintenance, high margin product that you can push out to your clients, knowing that they're protected very well, if not the best, and that you're going to increase your margins. Another statistic here is that 96% of MSPs are unable to scale past the 10 people. That is something that we're hoping to help you do as well. You're going to get more and more salespeople on and push this product out. As we look over the last year, CIO reported that the #1 priority for CIOs is cybersecurity. Of course, there's other things with the initiatives, but by far, well, it's close. It goes overall with operational efficiency, but it's cybersecurity. Can't read the paper, turn on the news today without seeing that somebody was hacked. Sometimes it's a huge company. The huge companies, they can survive it. It's the small to medium-sized businesses where we specialize. But quite honestly, they cannot survive a malware or a ransom attack, something that's going to shut them down. Also, the #1 way that people are attacked these days is through email. Whether it's a spear phishing attack to the COO, it's a link in an attack where somebody's like, oh no, I have to update my Netflix account, or it's malware. Those are the #1 way that people are attacked, is through email. So you need to protect that email box. You have to be right all the time, whereas the hackers just need one bad click. One thing that we do here at Vade Secure is that every quarter, our marketing department tracks the #1 phishing target. You know, we all know PayPal, the Netflix, the Facebooks, Bank of America, and a few others that have always been targeted. The last few years, what we've seen is Microsoft go through the roof. And of course, that's a lot has to do with the Office 365, where they're not just getting into your email box these days, they're getting into your SharePoint, your OneDrive, all your files. So once they take over that email box, they can get into everything else. And we're seeing that the Office 365 market share is around 55% now and only getting more. So luckily for me and my fellow regional sales managers, our company develops an API into the Office 365. We'll touch on that in a bit. Traditionally, companies, a lot of times they'll just say, well, we're using Office 365 and it comes with EOP. EOP it's okay. The problem with that is it's really a known database. They can prevent you from the known stuff. And then when it comes to spear phishing, even then they're just the exact domain that they can protect you from. Whereas what's happening nowadays is things are becoming polymorphic. The old days, it was one email went out to 1 million people. Now those phishing campaigns are really dynamic. They're changing, and it's 1 million different emails, whether they're changing the font of a letter, going to a Russian O rather than a zero. They're changing the color. So what we specialize here is with our behavioral analysis, our natural language processing, logo detection, and all that information that we have. And it comes from all the data, those 600 million mailboxes, that every day we're able to define and redefine the threats and find out and stay at hour zero, I guess is the buzzword these days, is where we need to catch these threats. And that's through that machine learning, the AI, the heuristic rules that we've developed from day one, 16 plus years ago. Your typical gateway is just not sufficient anymore. What they want you to do is they want you to configure MX records. And if you have a few different domains, that can become very difficult. Adding new users, that is also a pain. Often, if you look at some of your traditional programs out there, whether it's a Barracuda or a Mimecast or a Proofpoint, what have you, they ask you to disable your EOP, which is kind of like, it comes with it. You have certain security features there. Why would you disable it? Why not just layer with it and get the best of both worlds? Another issue with the gateway and cloud solutions is the complexity for the end user. They have an external quarantine. It's time consuming. And another disadvantage of the MX record route is it does not filter internally. And we're seeing a lot of that now where people they're compromising an internal email and they're spear phishing from within. We actually scan for those, whereas most your MX record systems don't. And then lastly, and this is something that we tested in the office areas, there's a thing called the MX record bypass trick, where I can go online, look up your MX records, look up your Outlook API address, IP address rather, and I can actually send you an email that circumvents your security system. And part of that is because with the MX record, it tells me who you're being secured with. It'll tell me if you're using Proofpoint. It'll tell me if you're using other products. Where our product, because it's API based, you don't change the MX records. The bad guys don't know who is protecting you. Hence, they can't really market a campaign around the weaknesses. So 10, 15 years ago, cloud applications, they were just a concept. If you asked 10 people what they were, you'd get 15 to 20 different answers. Nowadays, my father, who's turning 80 next week, he's banking online. He's doing stuff online that he never would have dreamed of. Something as simple as a direct deposit that was unheard of 10 years ago. You picked up your check, you walked into the bank. Now people are taking pictures of it, sending it into their bank and getting their credits. So what we're seeing is a gap, and it's only going to be increased. So what our developers have come up with is they said, what if we could, get rid of this MX record changes, the external quarantine, the lack of scanning internally, and these other weaknesses, and we can improve on that. So what they've done was they've come up with an API that needs zero redirection. It actually layers with EOP as opposed to why would you just disable it and kind of lose it. We scan internally. It's native to the user, the current users. They don't see any changes. They don't have that external quarantine. They don't see any differences. And once again, as I mentioned, we scan internally. And that's the Office 365 infrastructure. We have an API into it. We sit in Azure. We take a journal entry of the email, and within a second, make a determination. And we'll see in a bit that it's very easy to deploy, and it's all customizable, which you as an MSP can put your logo, your messaging, show your value to your clients. As far as we have a partner portal where you'd be able to go on, set up clients on proof of concepts, create that journal entry, as I mentioned, and then you'd start seeing data flow into the dashboard. So for the product overview here, what we have is, as I mentioned, it's fully transparent to the end user. The only changes that they would see are potential if they had maybe a phishing page. We'd have a customizable redirection. We rewrite pages. A couple of years ago, we documented 377 redirections within 1.5 seconds to come out and say the final resting page is malicious. Do not proceed. And this is where you can really show value to your end clients, put your logo, your messaging. If you do have it configured so that they can proceed, you can have it set up so that an email goes pinged off to whoever needs to be alerted that Joe Smith, despite being told not to do it, went ahead and clicked on those pages. The only other change that they would see is spear phishing. And spear phishing it's a little different. It's a one-to-one email. You're targeting people with financial, purse string decision-making capabilities. Maybe HR, you're updating direct deposits. And what we've done here, especially with the world we live in, where some people probably watching this on a phone right now as they're driving, we're all busy. So is it possible that the CFO who was on social media and said he was going to the RSA conference, is it possible he's in the hotel room and email me from his Gmail? Yes, it is. So what we do in that case is we say, you know what, based on alias spoofing, domain spoofing, based on natural language processing, based on a request for financial gain, we've determined that enough flags have been brought up that this could be spear phishing. So in these emails, we put up a banner, once again, customizable with your logos, your messaging policy says, pick up the phone, talk to this person before buying those 20 Amazon gift cards. Hopefully that makes sense. The only other real change that we would have, I'm just going to go back for a second, is for the end users, we have something called low priority gray mail. It's a take it or leave it type feature. I personally love it. And the idea is to make employees more productive. They go into their inbox, which everyone's familiar with. They're reading work-related emails. Later on, if they want to go into their social media or newsletters, expenses, those emails are sent to those folders directly. And once again, it makes it more productive. And there's also machine learning involved in there. So I would say something like LinkedIn for me, that's just what it is. It's social media. I could do it on my own time. Whereas my marketing department they may be using it to publish newsletters. They need to see those emails. So as they notify us and they right click, they say this is not social media. This belongs in the inbox. It's going to report back to us, and we're going to learn how to treat that going forward. And that's really the power of big data. This is another thing that we rolled out at about 6 months ago, was remediation, auto remediate. And this is the power of us on a big level saying, you know what, we got it wrong. Wish we could say we're 100% perfect. No one is. So if an email comes in and we mark it as legit, and then maybe later on through the power of people saying this is spam, this is malicious, what have you, if once we learn to that and once they report back to us, as you can see with this blue button, we'll have the ability to take that email out of people's inboxes and put it into the spam folder or the phishing folder or the junk folder based on each user's criteria, each company's criteria. And that's really the power of the people helping one another and by reporting back to us. You also, as individual MSP, have the ability to do this on your own. So as an email comes in and maybe we target it as a spam, and they say, you know what, I really need this email. A couple of different things they could do. One, they could right click on it and move it to their inbox, and that would report back to us. Or if they talk to the administrator would have the ability to remediate that email and maybe take it out of the whole organization's spam folder and put it into their inbox and vice versa. And as they report back to us, we're going to learn on that and know how to treat that kind of email going forward. As far as benchmarks, we do have proven track records over better catch rate on Microsoft's EOP, as well as their advanced threat protection, which they basically will tell you EOP is not good enough. So for $2, buy this, and then for $5, maybe buy ATP2. We've got proven benchmarks where we've got better catch rates. In fact, that's even it's a built-in report that we have, which is one of the reports I love, especially as a business. This is where you're becoming efficient and growing your business. You have the ability to actively put up someone on a POC within 5 minutes. You don't have to mess around with those MX record changes. You go into our partner portal, you put in the tenant ID, you send them a email that they authorize, create the journal entry, and they're up and running. With those POCs, we have what we call a monitoring mode. It's a great way of selling to your clients. What you do is you say, I know you're happy with your EOP and you're happy with your Barracuda. Let's just put this in monitoring mode. Vade sits at the end of the food chain. Anything that shows up in our dashboard got through their existing systems. So it's a great way of you going back to them and saying, look, I know you think you're doing well, but look, we've got a 30% better catch rate. Also, we go to the reports and say, dear CFO, I know you don't want to spend the money. However, you're the one who's actually clicking on these links. We have reports that show who is the one clicking on those phishing pages, who's being targeted. It's typically going to be the C-level players. Once they're somewhat convinced there, they say, okay, yeah, the data is there. Then you put them into active mode. You actually start taking action on these emails and you're blocking them. And then at that point, you go back to them, a few days later. Usually the check's just sitting there with the PO. So the client's going to get very easy, the best protection out there in the market, very easy to deploy, so no labor. You're not going to have to be doing a lot of MX records and monitoring. It works for itself. There's automated reports of threats that can go off to your clients, let them know, once again, the value you're bringing them with a much higher margin. And Liette and Dave and them can talk to you about that as far as the pricing, but you're going to see that we're priced to make a win-win-win situation. So why partner with us? We're aligned with the Microsoft Cloud strategy. High margin, at least 30%. I'm sure some of you aggressive people out there are going to get even more value. Easy activation and management. It is just there's no hands-on work at all, really. It's that 5-minute setup. After that, it runs itself. Minimal upfront investment. Really, once again, there's really no investment. We're willing to let you put people on POCs free of charge. There's no investment. We have that partner portal for the easy provisioning. And we have high retention. Last document, I think, was like 97, 98% retention rate. Once people go Vade, they don't leave. I mean, and that's really the point I want to touch on, is it's going to less work, more money. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Exactly.
I mean, it's about working smarter, not harder. And if you can reap the rewards, knowing full well, it's not just your rewards, your clients are being rewarded as well, because they're being better protected. They can't afford those the malicious attacks that put them out of business either.
We've been using very secure and providing the solution for our customer. Our customer very happy, very easy to sell, very easy to use.
I will leave it with you, David, but as you know, we're willing to put get NFRs up for MSPs, non-for resale licenses. We wouldn't want someone selling something if they didn't believe in it themselves. From there, they have the ability to put their own clients on those proof of concepts. Monitoring mode, nothing's going to be disturbed, and let it sell itself for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark, again. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And hope you like this short and sweet webinar we provided to you. And look forward to the next webinar we have.